engineering and OPM charges that went along with that.
Was there another? Yes, sir.
Does selling the building actually cause us to get further into the hole on cash flow?
Like I said, it doesn't help our cash flow situation now. It'll be another year. Or if we don't close until after June, it'll be 2 years before, or until July, it'll be another 2 years before we see that effect.
It doesn't hurt us either
Right.
because we have this payment that we know we're going to make.
Right.
So if we sold the building and we have a loan for X amount, we couldn't do anything with that money to apply it towards that loan this year at all? We would just sit until, we would still have to make those payments, correct?
We still have to make those payments.
Okay.
And then we could always vote to take it out of free cash, at a town meeting. Are there any other questions or discussion? Yes, sir.
Did you want to consider any stipulations on the mold issue? Like it's as is?
Oh, I think, yeah. My understanding is at least all the real estate deals I do are always as is. I don't know if there's any special, when it's a government-owned building, if there are any special requirements. But I know generally real estate is sold as is. It's why you have the right to a home inspection ahead of time or whatnot, or a building inspection. But I think we would make it very clear that it was sold as is.
Right.
Yeah.
In the discussion that I had with department heads, it was pointed out that there's that issue, and also a roof issue. We'd have to sell it as is, and their statement was very clear that the town would be foolish to try to be a landlord.
Right. Be forced to fix, because then we may have to fix some of those problems. Yes.
Do we have a loan on that property right now?
Yeah.
Yes, we're paying it back now.
Yeah. There's still 525, or about $500,000 outstanding.
But there was about 20,000 first year that was paid, and this year there was about 155 or thereabouts that had to be paid.
Yes.
Is the loan like, let's say, a typical mortgage where it's site-specific, where you can't,
Yeah.
I mean, are you gonna ask the bank for a short sale? Or is it not that type of loan? Once we owe 5 and you get 3, yeah, we get 3, bank can say, yeah, well,
Gotta use that property
we
as
have a lien for
collateral.
2. 2 more, I should say. Or still 2, the remaining 2. So that's just the question I have. Was it site-specific, or was it just a town loan, basically? Because I don't know how the town borrowed the money.
Was that part of the USDA? No, that was a different loan, no. I would assume that it was through a bond, through a municipal bond. Is that, so if it's through a municipal bond,
Right,
then...
I'm under the
yeah.
assumption, but I just want to make sure
Right.
that...
Yeah, we would have to
Not
make
the
sure
case.
because the title attorney would not
You
allow
don't
us
want
to
to go to
close
close and
with that.
find out that there's
Yeah. Yeah.
outstanding lien on it.
Yeah. So we will make sure that there isn't a mortgage on it. Anything else? Okay. The next agenda item is to discuss the annual town meeting time. Oh,
Did we vote that?
oh no, we didn't. We probably should. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. The next agenda item is to discuss the annual town meeting time. I know that warrant articles are due Monday, April 17th at noon, 7th at noon. And that went out to all department heads and anyone who has citizens petitions or whatnot, that they are due Monday, April 7th at noon. But to discuss the annual town meeting time, was that?
I brought this up last week because annual town meeting is the night/day of prom. And I believe we got an email from Carol Harris saying that town meeting could be 7 to 2 or 8 to 2. And then she reserved the room for the following Monday and Tuesday if needed. So, because you would just find a lot of people who would just leave.
Right.
Because, it's juniors and seniors together, so it doesn't just affect the seniors this year, it affects both.
What's the date?
May.
May 17th?
May 17th
That's right. on the 17th.
is, and a lot of people like to go up to the common, and whether you have kids or you don't is usually irrelevant. So I think she had sent an email, but I can't remember when she sent it.
Yes.
How was May 17th determined? Because I thought at last year's town meeting, there was a bylaw change to specifically set the date.
The bylaw sets the first date. We don't necessarily because obviously if it got to be 10 o'clock at night and we had only gotten through 60 articles and we had 20 left, we could keep, well, I guess technically we could keep going, but the date that we set is when it kind of starts. The same way previously when they would be on, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Second
Thursday.
Tuesday,
When they would start
It
on
was-
Tuesday, it would start on that day, but
I thought
proceed
the
forward.
bylaw said the second Saturday of May.
Yeah, it does. Carol confirmed.
Okay.
It is the second Saturday.
that is the second
Yeah,
Saturday.
that's what
It
I
is the
meant,
second, the May 17th.
Seventeenth is not the
But the
second.
the 10th is the second Saturday, that's the way I read it.
Far out, yeah.
If the bylaw states that town meeting is the second Saturday.
Oh, I see what your question
why are we
is.
on
Well, it's a second Saturday after some kind of,
The second Saturday of May of this year is
Well-
the 10th.
Right.
Oh, is it second Saturday after the election?
after the election.
And the election this year is May
Right, there was a
5th.
qualifying event so that is the second Saturday after the election.
After the municipal
Is
election.
that the way the bylaw says?
Yes.
Yes,
Have our election.
yeah. So that's why we have.
This is only a question.
Yeah.
Since we've already voted on that last year to have town meeting on a Saturday, I'm not sure we can have it any other day. I'm not, that's a question I'm asking.
Well, like I said,
We're not gonna have it on any other day. It's gonna start on Saturday and end on like Monday or Tuesday. That happens every
That's
year.
why I'm asking,
We
just
just have
asking.
on Tuesdays and
And we go till like 2
4
weeks.
nights or whatever.
Right.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
I think it would be the
Thursday,
same thing.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday or whatever.
We would just be saying that we would end at 2 o'clock and adjourn, is what she said, and she already had called to
That's not a question,
verify
I'm just-
that it would be
I
available.
just want to get clarification that it's a Saturday, we're not stuck with Saturdays.
Yeah, I don't.
oh, yeah, no, I think just, that's what
Because that could drag out forever.
Right, oh gosh,
Go
months.
from 7 to 12.
Yes,
Have there been many complaints about it being on Saturday?
Yes,
yep. Well, we have heard some, but, I mean, it was voted by the majority and approved by the,
How can we bring that up again?
a citizen's petition.
Would that do that?
Yeah, I really, in the last like week or so, and especially since we, kind of like when you watch on TV about it being, and I said it was prom, I got lots of phone calls and lots of emails. Oh my God, I'm not gonna come. It's
Well,
the
May
last,
is-
for some seniors, such as myself, this is the last opportunity I have, to be with my child that
And
day.
there are religious restrictions.
And
Right,
there,
for some people.
right,
At
and
least
somebody had
7
said that, and it
families
was still
in
voted
Templeton.
to be on a Saturday. So maybe there is no perfect time to do that in the evenings. I heard a lot of comments, I was not on the board, well, like, my kids can't be out that late, they go on till, and then another night, and then people can't come back. I mean, it's hard either way.
but that is, I will say that is one thing that I heard a lot this last week from people was, well, my kids have activities on Saturdays, and why would you make it on Saturdays? It's like, because you complained last year that if I had it on a Tuesday,
Right,
I
right.
couldn't make it. So, but, and I think that the Saturday's meeting was one of the most like respectful, well-organized, well-run. I think everybody was fresh and hadn't worked all day, so everybody was like ready to go. So I think that even though people may be complaining a lot about the Saturday, maybe after they see kind of what the results of that Saturday meeting, they may say, I don't know if it's for
I can't go,
religious
but I know
reasons
a
you
lot
want.
of other people
Right,
can, so.
right. But a citizen's petition, can change
That would change
so.
So what time are you starting?
I don't know if that's,
I'd have to look.
Does anybody have
What is
a-
it? Let me look at the email.
That's too late.
She reserved it from 7 to 2.
I agree.
She reserved it, but I thought she said something like 8 o'clock.
Start at 8 o'clock.
8 to 2?
To start at 8.
Posted on the website from 9:30.
She was posted it's posted at 9:30?
At
You
9:30.
can always change.
Oh,
She wanted us to vote to change
Yeah.
it.
Okay, so, let me see if I can find the email.
Well,
Let me just see if I can
well,
find it.
before we discuss it further, I'll see, is there a motion to change it to any particular time? Because if not, then we don't have to,
I'll make a motion to change it from 8 to 2.
8 to 2. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. So now, so is there further discussion on this?
What time did you say?
8 to 2, so we'd get 6 hours in on Saturday
I disagree with that. I think it's too early in the morning.
at 8.
9.
9?
No, I don't think that's fair.
I don't think.
At 10 o'clock, it was fine.
So you think we
But
do it in 4
to
hours?
8
think we could
o'clock
do
in
it
the
in 4
morning
hours?
for a meeting.
10 to 2?
Well, we're not going to do it at 6 hours either.
We're probably not.
Okay, oh, sorry.
Well,
We have a motion on the,
No, that's not fair.
So your suggestion is to make it later?
I thought it was ridiculous on having it on Saturday because of all the little things our little children have to do on Saturday. And so you're making it earlier in the morning, so we could go to a prom, which is, I think, frivolous. If government is not important to the people that need to go to the prom, let them go to the prom. And then those of us who don't think a prom is that important, will go to the meeting.
Well, I'll say that the early is not because of the prom, as far as I understand it. The early is because the original goal was to try to get in all of it in one day.
You're
Because
not
there was,
gonna.
well,
If you can't plan on that. We were
Oh,
very
wait, no, that's what-
fortunate
right.
this Saturday.
that's why it's where the Carol Harris reserved it for Monday and Tuesday as well, so in case we
can
don't.
Still go back to the evening hours after dinner, we go and do our thing.
Well,
Saturday.
That would have to be changed by citizen's petition, now it's a
well,
bylaw.
right now it's a
Well, you
bylaw.
can always change your bylaw.
That's right, but we can't do it. It has to be done at town meeting through either a citizen's petition or
You
some
can
other
always
stuff
change
before it.
things, nothing's written in blood or stone.
Right, we just don't have the power to change it. So
I
we'll-
disagree with it. It's a frivolous reason why to change the hours.
More nights
I
resumed
think the other
Monday.
thing you may want to consider is people have a somewhat limited attention span. I'm sitting there from 8 o'clock until 2 in the afternoon.
So we,
Man, people's brains are going to be fried, and it's
So we can do 10 to 2.
difficult as it is to adjourn and come back and adjourn and come back. You're going to lose people, you're going to lose enthusiasm, and you're going to lose attention if you're talking about a marathon session.
What we can do is we have a motion and a second on the table from 8 to 2. If the person who made and seconded the motion would like to amend that time, they can do so. If not, we can vote it up or down, and if the vote is a no, we can take another motion for another
I'll
time.
withdraw the motion.
Okay.
Somebody else can
Okay.
throw a number
I would
up.
make a motion then to go
I don't know who's second.
9 to 2.
So now we have a motion for 9 to 2. Do I have a second?
It's a compromise.
Second, okay. So we have 9 to 2. Is there any discussion that we haven't heard yet? Okay, if not, Julie?
I like 12 to 8
Doug?
because I like night
Yes.
duty.
9 to 2.
I'm sorry, 9 to 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. So we'll do 9 to 2 with, obviously, we'll adjourn when that is done, and then the room is reserved for Monday. And I would make sure it's reserved for Monday and Tuesday.
She already
Oh,
did
Monday and
that. I
Tuesday,
did see
okay.
that in an email, but I can't find the email,
Okay.
so sorry, but I did see that.
Okay.
But she already reserved the room for the evenings.
So the last item that we have on the agenda is an update on the Town Administrator Search Committee. Is that I don't know who requested it. Oh, yes.
We have a member.
Oh, we have a member of the committee.
We met one time, I think it was 17.
Would you mind coming down here just so the mic can pick you up for the viewers at home?
There's no current in this chair.
So, no.
Okay, we met on the 17th of March. We're going to be meeting again this Thursday. That's Virginia Wilder, Bev, I don't know her last name.
Bartolomeo.
Bartolomeo.
Right, yeah.
She's Bev Chipman.
And who's the other one?
Bev
You?
And
and Virginia.
Oh, in Virginia, sorry, thank you. I like,
We-
couldn't
we
remember
had
who
a-
was.
We had a short meeting, we reviewed the applications, and so there were about 20 applications.
Wow.
And I thought there was some that looked pretty good. I think Bob did too. Yeah. So at the next meeting, we're going to put together an evaluation instrument and try to rate the applications and decide who we want to go further with. All right? Now, is there anything that you want us to do? I don't think we ever got a charge from you on any specifics.
My understanding, and obviously feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, were we looking for 5 to 6? Is that the normal process, a recommendation of 5 to 6 candidates to whose resumes?
I think it'd be fewer than that. I mean,
Okay.
I think the search committee would probably winnow down to,
3.
depends on the quality of the candidates, at least 2, more
3.
commonly 3 or 4, and then those would be finalists, their names would be released to the public, and then they'd be interviewed by the board of selectmen.
Sounds.
Do you want us to do a pre-screening interview before we give you the names, or just to look at the qualifications and give you the 5 or 3 or whatever we think is best?
Sorry to put you on the spot, but what's the normal practice?
Pre-screening.
That burden is normally put on the search committee
To-
to do some basic background checks, so that if some are going to be disqualified, we don't waste the time of the selectmen.
Well, typically, having been involved in these searches before, people are gonna drop out along the way, they're gonna get other jobs, they're gonna decide they don't wanna come here. So it's a fluid situation right up until you do your final interviews.
I mean, I can be helpful with references, and then what I've done in Northfield basically is called the references, write down the key phrases that they reference, and give them to you anonymously. Give them to you anonymously, and that's typically what happens.
John, do you have an evaluation form that you're using, or are you guys just talking about that at this moment?
Well, I'm
Like some
hopefully
kind of
gonna have one worked
criteria?
out. I'm hopefully gonna have one worked out by Thursday when we meet, based on the qualifications that are in the job description.
Okay.
Is there anything else that any other board members would like to ask John? Or
I mean, I think a couple of key criteria would be that they have previous government administrative experience, and that they have at least some, financial oversight, or understanding, that should be part of the qualifications.
I think we have that in the job
Yeah, I think
description.
that
We have all that in the
is-
job description, right? Yeah. I just didn't know if you had a specific form that you were using, that's all.
Yes, Mr. Casper.
Where is that money going to come to fund this position? We're
Uh,
broke.
The money, what's built in, as you know,
It's going to come in for $20 an hour.
right. What is, as you know, every year we don't start from scratch with the budget. It's based on last year's budget. So what would pay the vast majority of this salary, I'm assuming would be the portion that we had previously paid to a town coordinator. So, because obviously we wouldn't have it would just be a town administrator, and once the new administrator starts, we wouldn't have an interim town administrator. So that, it is likely that, or possible that we may have, obviously, to increase the salary from what the town coordinator was making, because it is more responsibility. But as I said, we currently have one person in the Board of Selectmen's office, not that that's going to stay that way, but we do have a source, so it's not like we need to come up with 70 or 80 grand to fund this position out of nowhere. We already have 70 grand of it or so allocated from what the town coordinator was making. So, yes.
Is this a full-time or
Yes.
do you have hours set on it?
It would be a full-time position, I believe, is what we're looking for. And this person would not start until the new fiscal year, so this would not require any kind of expenditures out, we have an out, I guess to more accurately answer your question, Mr. Casper, this money will have to obviously be allocated at town meeting. So, because it won't be for this fiscal year, so this board won't be taking any action in regards to, moving money from here to here, and that the salary line of the Board of Selectmen, they'll start in the new fiscal year, so we'll have a brand new budget. Yes, Mr. Spring?
Comment, or actually a question. At what point do we do queries? Is it something that this committee should do, or is that something after? That's as a question.
Finalists.
I think that's something that needs to be done also.
When you identify your finalists, typically you give them a form to sign, and sign off before.
My other comment was, is because from a budgetary standpoint, we've looked at, from the advisory board standpoint, other communities locally for that job description as to what they're paying. It's between 70 and 75. So we are in the ball game as far as that goes, to answer the question.
Okay. Is there someone else, but Kate, did you know?
As far as the core, we normally run them once that person gets selected, that finalist. Not
You got to do the query towards the end of the process.
Well, right, because we
Otherwise,
incur.
You don't want to do 20 queries.
Right. Is there any other comments or questions regarding this? Thank you very much for your update, and please continue to be in touch. I'm glad to hear that you guys have met and that this is moving forward, so we'll be on track.
I've asked, I've
Yes,
asked this
Mr.
question now. If he gets elected selectman, he's going to stay off that committee. Did you agree to that last week?
Well, that would be, would cross that, I think that we would cross that bridge when we get there. I mean, I'm not going to
Well,
conjecture about what might happen.
You definitely have to step up. You said it right there last week.
We can't, we'd have to vote on it.
Well, we have to talk, let's say it's coming down the wire.
Yeah, sure, Mr. Columbus.
As far as I'm concerned, this committee is defunct as of May 5th. After that, it's up to the will of the board what you want to do.
As far as you're concerned.
Okay. Is there anything else? Okay, if not, I believe that was the last item on the agenda. Is there anything else the town administrator, yes?
I thought we were gonna, are we gonna talk about warrant articles?
We can, sure. I mean, if we want to discuss them now, it wasn't on the amended agenda, but I'm happy to,
Okay.
if we want to discuss them now and any votes
Well,
are necessary.
I saw it coming up at town meeting, and it's also come up in other places that our bylaws are now in conflict with the town administrator.
Right.
So there's a number of bylaws that will need to be updated and changed. One of those, I think the most important one is the advisory committee. With the town administrator, it should be this board with the town administrator doing the bulk of the work to generate the budget, and then to pass that off to the advisory committee. Right now, our bylaws are in conflict with that. And I believe we voted in December to have the advisory board continue to develop the budget for FY15 for the town. And then after that point, once we had a town administrator, then we would switch over. So that would necessitate, I had something that I would like us to consider as a submission for a warrant article. Okay, to change that. And I have a couple of others. I just didn't know, are we going to talk about this before April 7th or, because that's the cutoff date.
Yes, we can. If would another Monday meeting.
Well, April 7th is the next Monday. Oh, it's next Monday.
Right.
Oh, it's next Monday? So we'd need a meeting later this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't sure what we were doing as far as warrant articles, because as a board, we're supposed to meet and vote on them.
Right.
You know, to submit them forward.
Yep. And we would need to, if the cutoff, right, because for the 7th, we would have to vote the warrant anyway after that, because we won't have them.
Right.
Obviously from everybody until the 7th anyway.
Right.
Right, wouldn't we need to vote them though before noon on the 7th, since that when the cutoff is?
Right, as a board,
Right.
articles that we're putting
going to
forth or
submit.
that we
Right.
submit, that we agree to.
Right. When would the board like to?
I cannot on Thursday, but any other night I can.
I'm
I can't
free.
Thursday. No, I'm have a business
Okay,
thing
all right.
Thursday till.
The school budget is done, so I don't have any
Right.
more of those meetings.
Right, you need to do it Thursday, the only reason I can't be here.
But we prefer not to do it on Friday.
I can't.
Wednesday?
Can we post tomorrow? Would
No,
that be
have
fine?
no tonight.
No. All right.
It's not, but it's
Friday
not
or
really
Saturday.
the best idea. I will be around this weekend, Pennsylvania.
Friday, later?
How late?
One more.
6?
We could do that.
Friday.
6, does that work?
Yeah.
Can you do that?
Friday at 6.
This Friday?
Yeah. I can be there, so we'll at least have a forum. Not that you don't matter, but.
Well, I didn't hear a word all of you were saying, so
Sorry.
I was just waiting for you to give me some directions.
Sorry. But are you free this Friday at 6, ma'am? Madam Selectman?
I think so.
And
Okay.
if you need to do it Thursday, it's, you know.
But I would like to have, obviously, very
We have to advertise it.
if possible. Oh, right, we'll post it. It just has to be posted
Yeah,
Wednesday by
as far as
6.
when-
And this would be to discuss just warrant?
This would be the warrant articles for the Board of Selectmen. And then on that following, that following Monday, then once we have everyone else's, then we can vote on the full warrant. Yes, Mr. Casper?
One more question now, it's coming closer to the deadline to get out of this building. What are we doing?
Well, that is something else that we need to discuss as well.
Discuss it now, you only got a couple more months, you think you don't
Right.
close.
No, but we can discuss it as long as we take action.
Discuss.
Yes, ma'am.
Just to follow up to Saturday's special town meeting, again, I kind of just the scuttlebutt from people talking. The warrants I know are just a warning that people pick up as they walk into town meeting. And then again, I'm sure you guys all know what I'm gonna say to you, is you start reading an article and the wording is totally different than everybody on town meeting floor is looking at. And I just from talking to people, they kind of wanted it addressed and that they're looking at the same thing that you're reading to
Right.
them. So again, like I say, it's just an issue and I'm just bringing it forward to you guys.
Yeah, and I completely agree. And I will say, not as an excuse, but kind of what happened. What made this situation particularly challenging is that usually the chairman kind of takes on some responsibility, but the chairman resigned the same day that I left the country and didn't have, so I wasn't here. There was no one here to kind of fill that role. I know Holly sent me several emails, but there was no internet. It was down at our hotel, so I couldn't even read them. But when I came back then, we were kind of scrambling to put together the motions, not the warrant articles, but the motions, and have those ready. But as you know, with the last minute push from the DOR, the actual figures we didn't have until the day, till Friday. So it made it quite difficult. But that is definitely something that we will address for annual town meeting, to have those motions ready to go. We can do nice two-sided so we don't waste any more paper than we have to have hopefully those motions ready to go so people can look at them at least when they come in, if not have them if not having them posted on the website, 48 hours ahead of time or something for people to try. But thank you for bringing that up. I completely.
Can I speak to that also?
Yes, ma'am.
A lot of people spoke to me about that also, and I thought that the presentation, many people have said thank you so much for the presentation that you did. It was done very well. It was very informative, and it would almost be nice to have our warrant articles one by one, shown on a screen. Maybe we could save some paper that way. And just to know what I think you're getting at, we get yelled at all the time, or people I don't hear what you're saying, or why is it so? So we should really try to be very, now that you seem to have simplified the ballot articles, that'll be a first. Everyone's always confused about the wording, so to have a presentation, and a few other people have said to me, why can't we have all the financial stuff first? Why can't there be an order where you're voting on all the many articles right away? And, we're going through that part of town business first. So those are really just, I've been hearing some of the same things. So to do some kind of, just put them on the screen would be lovely. I don't know if that's possible, but.
My standard, what I've been accustomed to doing is screening the articles and then screening the motions. So you pop the article up and then the motion. And I was thinking about that, in fact, over the weekend. If we do that, we're screening directly into the moderator. So we have to figure out
a different,
a way
maybe on the side,
to
on
maybe
the
move that
side.
podium
Put an extension.
to
We
one
could,
side
I'm
or
sure
the
the
other.
school would help us figure out
If
something
we can
different.
do that, then you can have
Yep.
a very good.
Like on the left-hand side or on the right-hand side.
If you reversed the order that you guys are on the stage, put the attorney at the opposite end, and then put the moderator, to the right, and the attorney, and then Bob, and then you selected.
Maybe.
You have advisory too,
Given it,
and the town clerk.
Yes.
we can ask the school.
We can rearrange.
Oh, if I could I just can't hear Mr. Dennis, sorry.
At one time when we used overheads, which I use quite often in that auditorium, when I used to put a plastic thing on an overhead, the town moderator had the exact duplicate of that up on the stage, he would know what was being shown.
Yes, sir.
Just to go on with Selectman Sparrow, I just want to end up jogging your memories again, because the advisory board doesn't want to be in the position of having to take and end up doing the budget. That's why a couple of months ago, I ended up indicating, coming to the meeting and presenting the municipal calendar, which says in October, this board is supposed to start the process of getting the budget and the outline. And then in December, they're supposed to end up having it finalized after they've reviewed it in November. And then it's handed off to us in February. That's what we're trying to follow.
Right.
That's what I was trying to take and end up pointing out to the board by presenting that, but it was not heard, I guess, very well.
We can,
I think we comprehended what it was, it's just that our bylaw is in conflict.
No, it's not.
It is.
The bylaw is not in conflict. It basically says that the budget that is presented at annual town meeting, which we follow, along with the Association of Town Finances, is the one that comes from the advisory board. We don't start the budget process. We don't gather all the information. We end up reviewing it after it's done, and we present from the town's perspective, townspeople's perspective, the budget. It may not necessarily be the same as what the selectmen have agreed upon.
Right. And I think that warrant articles similar to this one will help to lay that out straight in the future. Yes, Mr.
This morning, at someone's suggestion, I took a look at the Finance Committee handbook put out by MMA.
Yes.
And if you look at the first 2 chapters in that book, I think it pretty much clearly defines what the roles of different people should be in the process.
That's correct. I brought out the synopsis on the first part, which basically says that the process is exactly what's in the municipal calendar. The selectmen, through the administrator, start the process, review it, then hand it off to the advisory board, which has budget hearings. We end up going through that, making our recommendations at the annual town meeting. I mean, that's the process that the handbook has it. In fact, the handbook, if you go onto the website, we made it real easy. We put on the handbook on the advisory board website, as well as the municipal calendar, and there's another document as to the responsibility of different departments as to finances. We thought that was the prudent thing to do, to show folks what the process is.
And I believe definitely that this year moving forward, just as we will definitely be more proactive in staying on top, I believe, of the tax rate to make sure we're not in this situation. I think with budgets, we'll be doing the same thing and making sure with the new town administrator that things are done as they're supposed to in a timely fashion, so that we have one less thing basically to be scrambling around at the last minute. But well, that finishes up the agenda. I didn't know if the town administrator wanted to speak regarding the rent situation here and possible options.
Yes, I had given you a written report of the activities, my activities. The one I would draw your attention to is the interest that has been expressed very directly to me by the agent for the owner of this building as to whether or not the town is going to renew the lease. And one of the comments that was made is that in the past, the town did not have a lease. July 1 came, and the offices continued to operate from here until a lease was signed. I was told that that's not going to happen this time unless we have a lease in place as of July 1 that they're going to close the building. So perhaps for next week on the agenda would be getting a decision from the Board of Selectmen as to whether or not we should renew the lease, and with the owner offering an additional 4,000 square feet in this building so that we could consolidate town offices that are scattered around into this building, or whether the other option would be to move, to relocate to a town building. It's pretty late in the season to think about relocating by July 1. It would take a very concerted effort to get that done, but if that's the wish of the selectmen, I guess we need a decision. And I just urge that we have it on our agenda for next week, and then give me direction, because I've had 2 calls from the agent for the owner, and they're obviously interested in whether or not there's going to be a lease here. So if we're not going to be here, they're going to be in the market to rent it again. And if we are, then they want to make a deal. The deal, I have to tell you, was going to not only include an additional, they said 4,000 square feet, but also an increase in the rent. And they're asking for 3 years. I'm sure some of this can be negotiated, but nevertheless, that's the position, the starting position of the landlord here.
And given the, and I would like, I know, because kind of uncertainty is the breeding ground of anxiety, so I also would like to have a resolution to where we're going to be soon, and I'm sure our employees would be. The difficult situation is if we were going to do move into another building, obviously, at this current moment, financially, I don't know, the money for a move, basically, before the new fiscal year, trying to make any repairs or upgrades that would be necessary to whatever building we moved into. Starting that process before an answer on the override was gotten obviously would put us in an extremely precarious financial situation when we're not sure if we're going to be able to pay our bills as it is. But I know that we do need to take some kind of action. Did you want to say something? Oh, I thought.
No, I mean, I
Okay.
just said, are any of these, going to be any of these things negotiable, or are they hard and fast at this point?
Oh, no, I think there's room for negotiation.
What are our options?
Options, at least that have been discussed before, would be moving into East Templeton, obviously staying here. Are there any other options that I missed?
Yeah, I mean, the other option would be to move the folks in this building into other existing buildings that have employees.
I mean, we had our children in East Templeton, why not?
There's no furnace there.
There's not.
There is a furnace.
There's a furnace.
Not that works.
There's a furnace. Yes, there's a furnace.
And that is on now?
Wiring is on.
No, it's not on.
It hasn't been on, it hasn't been tested in 2 years.
Suitable for our children, why not have
It would certainly need
Covered by a
repair.
tarp.
Right. We would obviously have to have the occupancy updated for that purpose as well. And to get I know that we'd already started the waiver process.
Right, and we've got some of the work in process, but, it is getting, down to the wires.
Right. And we also don't want to give too much away because it is a negotiated contract, so some of these things would probably best be, obviously the final contract will be voted on by the negotiation stage, best worked out between the town administrator and the landlord. Do any selectmen have any comments or future agenda items that they would like to bring up now? Yes, Ms. Fairclough.
You go first,
Mrs.
because that might be the same thing.
No, just a couple of things that I have is at the new senior center on Saturday 5th, we're going to have an open house from 10 to 12. So anybody who's interested in coming over and, seeing the work that's been going on, you're more than welcome to. And then the second thing is Bob's presentation at the special town meeting, I really think made all the difference in the override passing. I mean, it was a very well-presented presentation. It was concise, was broken down into, easily digestible and understandable language. And, I just think it was good. I would like to see us take a snippet out of the recording that was done of just his presentation and get it run on Channel 8 just as often as possible, once a day, from now until the annual town meeting.
Did that?
No. The Council on Aging is doing a new type of activity. They're collecting donations of candy and baskets. They're going to assemble Easter baskets for the kids who frequent the food pantry. So that's a new initiative. So you can drop off any kind of supply you have Easter related to Scout Hall up until April 9th. And on April 10th, they're going to assemble the baskets, if you're into that kind of thing. I know, assemble. It is assemble. Assembly, let me tell you. And also, North County Land Trust is having an informational meeting this Saturday from 10 to 2 at Williams Restaurant. Free lunch, okay? And they're interested in meeting with landowners in the town of Templeton to go over options, the chapter lands, the different section of law to protect and conserve land. So,
Where is that?
Williams Restaurant in Gardner, from 10 to 12. I don't think they'll, if you don't have land, I don't think they'll kick you out, but.
They won't know.
Don't tell them you don't have to after you eat.
Right.
They won't ask
I just wanted everyone to be aware, there is the ballot question for the debt exclusion for the new elementary school, and that funds are being raised as donations as part of that. So it's a $500,000 debt exclusion, 60% of it, thereabouts, would be paid for by the state, which leaves $200,000 left over. We've already, or the school has already said they've collected several $1,000s. So I know that you can make your checks out to Narragansett Regional School District. Every dollar counts toward that, and it will lower the debt exclusion to the town. Personally, I think that we're trying to hope to raise the entire amount. So there will be no debt exclusion to the town at all. So I know I've been speaking to people, I know others that have been speaking to people, so if you know anyone who would want to support that, again, $1, $5, it doesn't matter, every little bit will count and help towards that. So I just want everybody to be aware of that.
And I know letters went out to businesses
Yeah.
in town.
Yeah.
The only thing that I have, and then I will let everyone go, well, I mean, I'm not letting you go, you can go whatever you want, is that I do also wanted to thank Bob for his wonderful presentation. I had people send me messages on Facebook that said, Ken, I did not agree with a single word that you said that whole meeting, but wow, that was a nice presentation from the town administrator. So even people that did not agree with anything that was in the presentation still thought that it was a step in the right direction. I thought it was it was a friendly, civil meeting. People had their questions answered. There were a lot of tough questions asked, and I feel that our interim town administrator did a great job answering them, and I just pray that that same sentiment kind of carries through for annual town meeting, and that we can have that same kind of community feeling moving forward, because it was really great to see people kind of being cordial to one another. So even though people had varying opinions, but if there's nothing else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? Julie?
Yes.
No? Yes. Diane?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you all for coming.
So we have a meeting Friday.
I didn't want to get us out of the habit, you know.
No, we're on a roll.